Hello and welcome to the Front Three Show Live, our World Cup special preview show. And we're finally joined again with the Prince of Rome. He's made his appearance back.
For the big occasion.
For the big occasion. That's him back for the summer. I'm joined with Brenton. Hello, Brenton.
Hello.
As you see, I'm still wearing my Oviedo top. I haven't taken it off since we did our first video on the groups, which is what we've been doing so far and we'll continue to do until the tournament starts. We're previewing every group, and that's up on our YouTube page at the Sports Babble, so make sure you check it out. But tonight, Jake's going to preview later on for his Group C. So he's got that all wrote down. He's going to tell us who he thinks is going to win and what's going to happen in that group. And it's quite a tasty enough little group.
It is indeed.
But as you know, the World Cup starts in less than a week's time now. The three of us have serious World Cup fever. We haven't stopped talking about it all day. We just did our family sweepstake there, and
some interesting results.
There was some interesting results. But I suppose the big question really, and it's one everyone's asking and all the bookies are looking for, is who they think is going to win the World Cup. And we might as well start with that as our first question. What we want to talk about is there. I'll go with you first, Jake, because we also did a little show last week. But have you a team? Is there a team stands out for you that you think will blitz everyone and win it, or?
You know, you made I suppose a compelling case for Uruguay in your video the other night, Philip, which I advise all to tune into. And you know, from defence through midfield into the attack, they're a very solid outfit. Personally speaking, I find it hard to look beyond the Europeans, particularly Germany. The reason being is that they won the Confederations Cup last year. They have big game experience. You know, they've got the solidity of Matt Hummels in defence and Manuel Neuer. They've got the guile of Toni Kroos in midfield, the panache of Ozil, and the experience finishing of Mario Gomez. You know, so I can't look really beyond Germany at the moment for the World Cup.
Okay. And they've also got what do you call the young folk? Timo Werner.
Timo Werner, excellent player from Leipzig.
Thomas Muller, the boys that won the World Cup before. Right. Marco Reus looks like he's finally going to get to play for them in a major tournament. And then they went and sort of threw like a psychological bomb on everyone and dropped Leroy Sané.
I think that's what it was. I think that
Mind games.
We can drop Leroy Sané. Obviously there was an element of risk in that. Do we need Leroy Sané? And they decided, the management team together must have decided no, and we can, they probably could have brought him, and played him one or two games of these or group games, if somebody get injured, but the fact that they can leave somebody who has been so good in a record-breaking Premier League season off the plane is massively psychological. I think if you're playing Germany in the latter stages, like that comes into your head, something like that. Do you not agree?
For the opponent?
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
You know, if they're coming up against players who will be playing his position, I think this boy must be good because they let Leroy Sané at home for him. Do you know what I mean? That's what I'd be thinking.
Yeah.
If I was the right back.
That's straight away what I thought when I seen he was dropped. I think it was you sent into our group that Sané has been dropped, and I was instantly thinking, well, who's better? Who's had a better season than Sané that's coming into this team? And Raphael Honigstein actually talking about it the other day, and he was sort of saying that actually it did come as a big surprise over here, but in Germany it might not have been seen as such a surprise. I know you said this to us as well off camera that Jogi Löw knows what he's doing, and
no one dares question him.
No.
Looking at Bild and the other German media at the moment, no one really is talking about Sané. The English media made a big deal about it because he was so prominent in the Premier League in terms of his stats.
Yeah.
I remember on 2 occasions in the League Cup final, the game afterwards at the Emirates, he destroyed Arsenal. But realistically, across the entirety of the season, every game, did he deliver in every single game? Not really.
And maybe in Man City's biggest cup game this season, apart obviously the final when they played Liverpool in the Champions League, he was sort of this.
He was on the fringes.
Yeah. I don't know, maybe.
So Jogi Löw is not one to be doubted, and he'll be vindicated if they go on as I expect to in the tournament.
Who are you going for?
I'm sticking with what I said in our video last week, and I'm going to go with the French. I just think the amount of players they have left at home also sends a bit of a message. I think their spine is really, really strong and has been consistently strong through the qualifiers. And Reus, we is Varane. Just talking up the middle, Pogba and Kante, Griezmann and Giroud. I mean, very, very strong.
And they can bring in. You could potentially start with Dembele, Mbappe, and Griezmann. And that's like, you think the front three at Liverpool is quick, or we talk about that, and Alexis Sanchez and all when he was Arsenal and United, you think that's all quick? That front three is absolutely disgustingly fast.
Yeah. If you look at, I'm sure you can make a team, a second starting 11 with the French squad that would get out of other groups as well. You know what I mean? Like, that shows how strong they are depth-wise. I mean, we've already seen what injuries can do with Lanzini being out of the Argentina squad. Yes, they have other options, but there are teams who just have their strong starting 11, and then after that
there's not really much there.
So if situations like that occur, I think France are in a very strong position to, and they're a growing team, France, in tournaments. They always have been. Maybe fail to sort of flatter to deceive coming out of the group, and the build as the tournament goes on. I think we'll talk about it later, but I think they are going to have the player of the tournament in their team.
Player. Okay.
But
I'll back.
We're developing that situation later. So
I think my winners are going to change. We talked about France last week, and then I went, obviously, because we're doing our YouTube videos and stuff, I was researching a bit more, and I really don't know how I didn't pick this up, because I was in Spain last weekend, but I think Spain will win it. Spain have the best goalkeeper, the best defence, the best midfield, and then they have options up front. That's my opinion. Like, they have Sergio Ramos and Piqué, they've obviously David De Gea, they have Alba and Carvajal, or Arrasabal, Alba, sorry, or Arrasabal, isn't it, the young fullback? I think we saw him at Shamrock Park actually play for the under-21s.
Yeah.
And then they have Busquets, Thiago, Iniesta, Silva, Isco, Saul, Koke, all the pick, Lucas Vazquez, Asensio, and up front Aspas, Rodrigo, Costa, Plenty Asensio, Plenty Vazquez. I think that team's absolutely ridiculous.
It is absolutely ridiculous on paper. The only thing I would say about Spain is sometimes they are, too, this sounds stupid, but too samey, like too predictable in a way that teams know, exactly what to do.
And I suppose that's what put France as a slight edge, because they have the option to start with Giroud, the big man up front, to play off him. Spain can't really do that so much. It has to be all that ticky-tacky football.
I mean, they do have Costa if they want to start with, I said the other day, they have battering ram, but he doesn't offer the same that Giroud does, especially in the air.
And the link that Giroud has with players like Griezmann and Mbappe around him that Costa wouldn't be as good at.
As well as that, Giroud has played consistently through France's qualifiers. Costa hasn't really.
He doesn't seem to connect with the Spanish squad as much as he did with Chelsea, and obviously he is Brazilian, so is Rodrigo. But I actually, if I was Lopetegui, as I said in the video that's up the other day, he said 19 games in charge and he hasn't lost one yet. This isn't a Liverpool bias. I would actually, maybe Rodrigo or Aspas would be my starter, because I think they offer a little bit more that what would suit Spain more. But like, on his day, if Diego Costa turns up, who's going to handle him? You can't handle him. Like, he's shown it enough times on his day. He's just an absolute monster. So I think Spain will win it. We've all been a wee bit bummed. Picked three favourites there. Hopefully Costa Rica win it, because that's who we're following as the sports battle. But I think we might be a wee bit far off of that. But yeah, so Germany, Spain and France for the World Cup. Those three certainly will go long and deep into it. Like,
you would hope so.
Yeah, or there's been a bit of a shock there somewhere, but very interesting. I certainly think Brazil will want to avoid Germany, and I don't think they can. I think they're in the same side of the draw.
They are, yeah, quarterfinals.
Quarterfinals, semi-finals, aye, so could be another 7-1 on the hands. So as you said, we'll talk about players of the tournament, but we'll go with top goal scorer, who we think is going to be top goal scorer. There's obviously the likes of Griezmann, there's Muller or even Timo Werner there. There's from Spain, it could be Aspas or Costa or whoever. Is there anyone in particular that you sort of think stands out? There's a certain Belgian that scores a lot of goals.
Lukaku?
Yeah, there's Lukaku too.
Are you talking about Hazard, really?
No, I was thinking potentially Lukaku could be a top goal scorer. That's I think that would be
Batshuayi?
Or Misha if he was fully fit. Yeah, after the way he played it.
He's getting there, like.
Yeah.
He's getting close to full fitness. I would love it to be Batshuayi, to be honest. Like, he's still a Chelsea player, but looking at what team you think's going to win it, obviously France. I think Griezmann is suited to tournament football.
Yeah, he showed that. Like, we know all about it. Like,
We know all about
the
it as
Euros.
Irish fans, but he's so clinical. And when you get your chances in tournament football, you need to take them because anything can happen, especially in the World Cup. It's even madder than the Euros. I just think he has all sorts of finishes in him. Saw it against Ireland. He obviously has penalties too, which is always a good shout when you're going top goal scorer. He's good in the air for the size of him. Obviously, we saw in the Europa League this season the overheader as well. If I have to go France, I'm gonna go Griezmann.
Okay, that's fair enough. Have you one in mind?
Well, whoever starts for Germany, I
Up
presume
front?
it's going to be probably Gomez, will it?
Well, there's Gomez,
Werner, yeah.
Timo Werner, and he's another one with pace.
Yes.
Certainly could be his breakout tournament. But yeah, Timo Werner.
There's one to watch it, yes.
100%.
But, yeah, I'll have to go with that too.
You're not going to go Ozil?
Ozil will be the
Top assists.
the top assists, chances created.
I'm gonna, and if you're watching, even if you're watching it live now, if you're watching it later, let us know your predictions in the World Cup. I'm gonna stick with my choice to think Lukaku.
But sorry, just
yeah.
to go a bit left field there, I'm also gonna consider Cavani of Uruguay.
Okay,
Suarez?
Cavani or Suarez.
Yeah, either or I suppose, but Cavani
Yeah.
hasn't really delivered at a World Cup yet.
He's always been overshadowed
Yes.
because either
Diego Forlan at a time,
Suarez was
That's
biting
right.
people and handling the ball and
True.
losing his
Scoring
mind.
against England.
Scoring against England. Yeah, it could be because he's had a couple of unbelievable seasons
That's
in
right.
France. I'm gonna stick with Lukaku, and it's he's a goal scorer. Like, he scored 20 odd something goals. He ended up at Manchester United, which he might have overshadowed because other people were scoring more goals. But he has Eden Hazard and Kevin De Bruyne behind him. He's gonna get service.
Understatement.
And when he gets service, he can score goals. And I think Lukaku will finish on. I'm going to go with 7 goals. I think he'll be top goal scorer. Don't think Belgium will win it, but I think he'll be top goal scorer.
We're not looking at Neymar, maybe even for example.
He hasn't played. See, that's the only
true.
thing.
Not fully fit.
Not fully fit, but he showed the other day against Croatia that he still even though he hasn't played for months, he still destroy you.
The thing about it is too, in qualifying, Germany played 10 games. They won all 10 of them and they scored 43 goals in the process. That's a European record. They've had Miroslav Klose, who's been top scorer at World Cups on a number of occasions. They tend to suit this tournament football, and there tends to be a striker in their team that suits it. So it's very hard to look beyond them. And I know Lukaku is certainly a finisher, as is Griezmann, but are they in a team with the experience to deliver? For example, France, this current French team, bottled under the pressure at the Euros 2 years ago. The Belgian team have the potential, but do they have the experience to deliver? I think the German centre forward is in a very good position to nail down top goal scorer of the tournament.
It's what I would say about Belgium is if they're gonna hit this peak that everybody's talking about, it's at this World Cup. Like, this is they're mature now.
Yeah.
The players are at the right age. They've had success with their club teams. This is their time to go and do it. I think, like, if they're ever gonna do it.
Yeah, one of the Belgian journalists was talking on another podcast I was listening to this morning, and he actually thinks that they'll really falter. He doesn't fancy his own country at all to do anything. He just says, look, we had a really easy group, and when we come up against teams that are of a good calibre, I think Spain might have wiped the floor with them in a friendly earlier on this year, and he reckons the same thing's going to happen. But I think Belgium will go far enough in the tournament this year. Look, their players are just too good.
Yeah, just when you talk about Brazil though, like, I know Neymar hasn't played, but I mean there is a potential for Firmino to go and get top goal scorer. Even somebody like inside, I'm not just saying that's because he's a Chelsea player, but someone like Willian, like, who Brazil tend to blow teams away. I mean, he's got a good enough record in qualifying scoring goals. What about assists? I kind of think that's interesting to look at.
Top assists. Well, we know who he's going to say, like, but that isn't it. Eden Hazard.
I'm gonna go Modric.
Oh, that's a good shout actually. Although he's assisted Mandzukic and
Perisic.
Kramaric, and Bebic is the other one, I think. Oh, can't. I might pronounce his name wrong there. Could be. I think I'll go Hazard because he's.
Let's go now.
There's so many good players.
There's so many players, you know, it's
ridiculous.
water.
That's why we can't wait for it. Like, and I know people were, and we'll talk. Jake's going to talk us through Group C in a minute, and then we'll talk about who we think will be our player of the tournament and maybe our breakout player and team, whatever. And I know everyone's giving Russia this World Cup a bad rep because there is the potential to be hooliganism and some nasty stuff which we don't want to see. But like when you look at the names of the players that are there and the countries that are going, even though you're missing out in Holland or whatever, and both Ireland's still mouth-watering, like, isn't it? It's still, I can't wait for that to kick off next Thursday, even if it is Russia against Saudi Arabia.
We'll all be sitting there,
Yeah.
and then wondering what we've been waiting for, you know.
And do you know one of the best things, and we're not going to talk, this just came into my head, but the best things about the World Cup is there still is a potential for you to spot a player you've never really heard of before, and then instantly like, oh, I want Luis Suarez in 2010. I hadn't really heard of him. I hadn't really realised what he was doing at Ajax. And we signed him a couple of months even after that or whatever it was, and he turned out a brilliant player. At the World Cup you're thinking, this player's decent, like, and he's got a bit about him. There's always one that comes out of somewhere.
You know, I suppose just talking about top goal scorers and players that are going to deliver, you know, what about Mo Salah for Egypt?
Yeah, well,
What do you think? Top goal scorer?
I don't think Egypt will get far enough for him to be top goal scorer.
True, you know, what about Harry Kane? You know,
Again,
they're two of the greatest goal scorers
this season
at the moment.
Yeah.
what about Ronaldo and Messi?
I haven't mentioned Ronaldo and Messi, I haven't
True.
mentioned at all. Neymar was only briefly mentioned. And
Are they going to take their teams all the way out?
Portugal, no.
I don't think so.
Argentina?
No.
Possibly?
I'd love it to happen, and I know you'd love Portugal to do it, and to see Ronaldo win a World Cup would be special as well, but I don't think it'd be either of
No,
those
I'd
two.
like to see both of them get at least out of the group.
I'd like to see them meet each other.
That'll be fun too.
I'm not sure if the draw's that way inclined for them to meet. But Group C, and we've spoken already quite a lot about one of the teams. So I'll let you take over, Jake, and talk us through Group C and how you think it's going to pan out.
Well, 4 teams.
That's a good start.
France are obviously your key, I suppose your household names there, and they're obviously favourites to win the group. 6-1 favourites for the tournament. Certainly have a massive chance, and they are, as we have discussed, Brendan's tip. You know, in addition to that, you've got Australia, who struggled to qualify, who played a crazy number of games to qualify, 22 games including qualifiers and then playoffs, etc. We've got Peru with 2 absolute heroes of Peruvian football in Jefferson Farfan and Paulo Guerrero.
And do you know who's on their management squad? Naby Solana.
Naby Solana.
Remember Naby Solana at Newcastle?
Newcastle,
yeah.
And finally in that group we've got Denmark, you know. So to start with France, they're led by a former World Cup winner who's been there, who's done it, who knows what it takes to win the tournament. And Didier Deschamps, he won it in 1998 as captain of France, and I hope that his leadership can get this French team over the line. You know, when you've got talent like Mbappe, Lemar, Griezmann, Giroud, you know, Tolisso, Pogba,
Fekir.
it just goes on and on. I'm not going to mention Fekir because he's joining an unmentionable football club. But it's an unbelievable squad. But ultimately, we have no question marks about the midfield and the forwards. The question marks are about the defence in this squad, and it's whether or not Umtiti and Varane will be able to deliver. The one to look out for, and I hope he's given a chance, is Pavard of Stuttgart, a fantastic young centre half who has been linked with Arsenal. And that's
I was just going to say that. He's been linked with Arsenal.
But it's a superb. I've watched some video clips in preparation for this, and a superb defender, and one to watch for the future. Certainly, maybe not at this World Cup, but certainly in 4 years' time.
Laporte is Argentinian, is he?
No,
Or is he French?
He is French,
but
I think
he didn't make the squad obviously because he wasn't playing regularly enough for City.
Isn't Gonzalo Higuain, I think, as well, is French but also Argentinian, so there's a mixture. He plays for Argentina.
Laporte's like that, isn't
I
he?
think Laporte. David Trezeguet was the same. You were talking to me earlier actually about Denmark as well.
Well, Denmark, you know, are an outfit that I think will finish second in this group, you know, ahead of Australia and Peru. Now, maybe not a massive achievement, but a team that are very lean in terms of what they give up to the opposition. You know, they've played 3 games so far in preparation for the World Cup. In those 3 games, they've conceded 22 shots, and only 4 of those shots were on target. Now, that's massive. You know,
Christensen?
they were playing, okay, in the process, they were playing Panama,
Who are at the World Cup though?
Chile,
Yeah, he should
who've
missed
won,
out on him. Yeah.
who've achieved massively and maybe overachieved recently for the size of their country there, and also they've played Sweden and they drew that one. But they're a tight team. They got to the quarterfinals in 1998. Do I think they're going to get that far? Probably not, because if they come out of this group as second place, they're most likely going to face Argentina. And
You never know. It
that'll
could be,
be tough.
it could be a surprise package.
They could be a surprise package because they've got the defensive know-how to, I suppose, stave off the pressure of the likes of Argentina and nick a goal on the break. Now, they're going to be without Nicholas Bentner.
Laura Bentner.
Now, people will laugh about that, but he's got 30 international goals. The next person to him's only got 8. And, you know, that's massive.
There's some young good players, the Dolberg and all.
Yes,
from Ajax and
that's
stuff,
right.
so-
And, you know, they've got obviously Christian Eriksen, who put Ireland to the sword, unfortunately, in
Single-handedly,
Dublin.
yeah.
Unbelievable.
Had a superb performance. They've also got Andreas Christiansen, who's obviously going to be their keyhole name alongside Simon Kjær in defence.
He's a really good centre half, Simon Kjær.
And that's a good pairing. You
Yeah.
know, I think they're a very solid outfit. Again, as we spoke about earlier, when you look beyond the first 11, you start to enter into some problems.
Aye.
And if they do get an injury or suspension or whatever, there might be problems. The key game in this group, and the key to maybe Denmark's progression, is versus France. Will France can't afford to rest players in that final game. Not that they need to, because they've got 2 outstanding 11s that they could just switch around from game to game. But whoever wins that's probably going to win the group, and whoever wins the group will avoid Argentina. So
Yeah.
that's your game, you
Yeah.
know. You don't want to face Argentina in the second round per se.
If Argentina win their group, like Argentina's group is difficult. Like,
True.
I covered it last night, and
You'll be doing a video will go up tomorrow and you'll tell us all the crack with it. And
yeah, that's
that's the group of death.
group of death.
Group
Yeah,
of death is a group.
Argentina, Nigeria, Croatia, Iceland, and you might look at that and go Iceland or the whipping boys that group. but
Iceland Smith.
Ask England, like, do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
That's true. Like, and another thing about you know, talk about players, and spoke about the Belgian players there had reached their peak in terms of, or reached the maturity to now deliver at the last World Cup. Sorry, he made his debut the last World Cup that Denmark played was 2010, and Christian Eriksen was 18. Now 2018, he's now 26. He's in the prime.
That's
He's delivered. He scored 11 goals in 8 games for Denmark. You know,
If he gets a free kick and
he's,
he's near the
he's
box
one,
as well,
he's
he's
one
a
to
big
watch. Like
he's the man.
He's the
for
man
Denmark,
for
isn't he?
Denmark.
Denmark
you know.
and Tottenham.
And Tottenham, like, unfortunately, I hate to admit it, like, I would love him to move away to another club.
It's a red one in Arsenal and London.
No, in terms of Australia, gentlemen, I'm not going to bore you too much. I don't expect much from Australia.
They are Asian champions, so they've
Yeah,
won
and
something.
they won the Asian Cup in 2015. Realistically, the furthest they've got is the second round, 2006.
Yeah, they cut them out.
That's right. They've got Tim Cahill, stalwart, who came back to Millwall during the season. Really didn't do much for them, but at this
Does he
stage,
still play?
he's still playing, and he's going to be playing in
37 in his 4th World Cup, which not many people have done.
Not many people
Wow.
have done that.
Yeah.
It's a massive achievement, you know. Players to look out for. Mili Jedinak of Aston Villa, if he puts aside, I suppose, the disappointment of losing the playoffs. He scored a hat-trick in their qualifier versus their playoff game versus Honduras. You know, whoever thought Mili Jedinak and a
It's
hat-trick
not a
would
goal
be used
scorer,
in
like,
the
yeah.
sentence, but that shows you maybe the quality of Asian football. But maybe it's not something to read into that they won the Asian Cup, you know. But you can only win what you're in at the end of the day.
Exactly.
And they've qualified. They've a good, I suppose, promoted teams that survived and did very well in the Premier League this season. They've got Matt Ryan in goals, and they've got Aaron Moy, the captain of Huddersfield, there as well, who are players to look out for Australia. I can't see them getting through the group, but you never know.
They also changed their manager not that long ago, didn't they?
That's right.
Bert van Marwijk, who was managing, is it Saudi Arabia possibly? Got them into the World Cup, couldn't agree a contract, so they hoofed him out. Then he got the Australia job. So he's going to the World Cup anyway.
Yeah, he actually secured the world. Saudi Arabia finished first. They
Yeah,
finished top
yeah.
and they qualified through the Asian route. And then obviously Australia to go through the playoffs. So he got to the World Cup anyhow. The
Yeah.
next best thing, I
And
suppose.
actually, just to tie in with that, the Saudi Arabian manager now, Pizzi, the Argentinian, he was the Chile manager. They failed to qualify, and then he got the Saudi Arabia job, and now he's going to the World Cup. just like talk about
Very
landing on
good.
your feet.
You know,
like.
very good.
Yeah.
So did Australia, qualify with a different manager and then hoofed him out?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
That's pretty
Well,
hard.
they
stuff,
got in. I think they got into the playoffs with a different manager.
Yeah.
Got rid of him, and then Murph and Mark came in and took them. I think he took them on.
Played towards
One
the end.
game.
Well, a
Yeah.
few games, yeah. You know, so they've played 3 games in preparation for the World Cup so far, Australia, and they've had no more than 7 shots in each of those 3 games. Like, they're a shot shy outfit, they're poor.
Oh, that's fair enough.
Okay.
Straight to the point, like.
Peru, the 2 players look out from Peru, Jefferson Farfan, who continues to deliver at 33, he scored 25 international goals.
Playing in Russia.
Playing in Russia for Lokomotiv
Lokomotiv
Moscow is
yeah.
right. You know, he's also accompanied by Paulo Guerrero, who's recently, who's probably in a high in life, having recently tested positive for cocaine use, but still allowed to play in Russia.
Choose your words carefully there.
Yeah, well, that's right. I didn't mean to say that. And he scored 34 goals. He's their talisman here alongside Jefferson Farfan. And, if teams are lackadaisical at the back, they will punish them. You don't want to give either of these 2 gentlemen much chances.
See, for Guerrero's 34,
That's
but
right.
he has pace to burn.
He does, yeah.
And pace is the key word in attacking football these days. Like, everybody wants pace, and he still has it at 34.
And the likes of France in that team, or in that group, are gonna look at Peru and go, "We'll push forward here, lads," and
Leave yourself up at the back, then.
leave spaces at the back. And if Varane and Mpigi aren't as confident as you think they might be, without the experience of Koscielny there.
Yeah, Varane's used to
That's
talking
right.
Sergio Ramos as
That's
well.
right.
so-
The thing about it is that this team finished 5th in the South American qualifier, in the qualifying campaign. Like, they finished 5th finished ahead of Chile, for example. I would say they're the 3rd best team, but they could potentially, they're Denmark's greatest threat to 2nd place, Personally speaking, that means that the game between Denmark and Peru is very
I was
important.
gonna say, when is that game? Do you know? Or
It's Denmark and Peru's first game in the group.
ooh,
So it's a massive one to set them off on the journey, So
one to watch that one.
it is one to watch. It's it'll be an interesting battle. But as I said, France to come through, Denmark to come through. 2 different teams, very much so. If France could have Denmark's defence and Denmark have France's forwards and midfield, minus
sometime.
Eriksen, there'll be a massive team there. So we look forward to it.
So we're also going to talk about as well. Thank you very much, Jake. That was very in depth. Well done, you. That's Group C, B, and A all covered. A and B are up on our YouTube page, and this will go up on our YouTube page as well. This live show. Player of the tournament next. Who do you think this World Cup is going to belong to? Like, we've had the Roberto Baggio World Cup, so to speak, or it could have been Romario. You could argue that one. We've had other ones where James Rodriguez, the last World Cup, an absolute superstar.
Let's start with you this time. Who do you think?
I think this is going to be Isco's World Cup. I think, as I said, I think Spain will win it. And he's won 4 Champions Leagues now. I know he hasn't played in all of them for Real Madrid. And he's still sort of seen as like a bit part player because he wasn't starting all the time with Zidane. But he really has a much better game when he's playing for Spain. Like that game against Italy where he blew Italy away at the Bernabeu, and he seems to really enjoy himself. He said before he seems really free and open when he's playing here. I think this will be the Isco World Cup that we'll know it as, and certain people that maybe everyone should know him, but will really see what a special player
He
is.
prefers to play without a striker, doesn't he?
Striker, so to speak, yeah.
Yeah, because when Spain beat Italy in that game, they didn't play a recognised striker, did they? And
Don't think so, no.
they just played their way around them. It was class to watch. Like, and if they are able to do that, I know I said earlier about teams know how to set up so that they won't break them down. But if they start to break it down, you're in deep trouble. And
Well,
Isco probably will be at the centre of
Aye,
that.
well, they'll have David Silva and Iniesta there as well. Thiago or Busquets, Coquez, as I said, Saul and Isco. They're going to pick players that are going to break you down.
Vasquez.
Lucas Vasquez and Asensio.
So they've got a wonderful team, you know.
Yeah, I really do think this will be the Isco World Cup in my opinion. I think.
My pick for player of the tournament also prefers to play for his country, I think, than his club. Well, certainly looks that way with his performances, and this might surprise you, but I think Paul Pogba is going to be the player of the tournament.
Did not see that coming. Fair enough.
Yeah.
Nice.
I just think he suits playing for France. With United, he doesn't have a position, he doesn't have a nailed down position really. Certainly Mourinho hasn't given one and hasn't instilled confidence in him to play a certain position. He's got the defensive security of N'Golo Kante there, so he knows he can go when he wants to. He seems to take control of games more, I think, when he's playing for France. It's as if with United he hasn't been there long enough. He hasn't
gained the trust maybe of the management or the other players even.
Yeah, exactly. Or he thinks that because it's a big club, somebody else is going to do it. Lukaku, maybe when Rooney was there, when he was still there. I just think he's really he has to as well, I think, sort of make a name for himself.
I think after his performance in the Euro 2016 final, the French public also demanded from him. And I know Pogba, certainly United, and we see a lot being fans of teams in the Premier League, anytime he's on the pitch he's always made news.
Yeah. And
he's expected to do so much at United, and I think he has shown at times that he maybe can't deal with that, but I think he could be right here with France. I think he could.
Because he's not, he can enjoy being the best player. He's not under pressure being the best player or being expected of. He can just enjoy his football. And enjoyment and Jose Mourinho on the field don't tend to go together, to be honest. They're totally incompatible. I'm not saying that in a better way, but I just don't see how players can really enjoy their football currently at Manchester United under Mourinho.
No.
Even Rashford, look at his goal the other night for England. Another player who's taken a setback, Anthony Martial, who missed out on the France squad. All of these wonderfully attackingly gifted players who have not been ignited by Mourinho's style of management. And I think, as a club, Manchester United, I know we're not going on and I tend to go off on this tangent, but they've got such quality at the moment. They brought in Fred there as well. They brought in Dalit from Porto. Continue to bring in the talent, of course, but have a manager who's going to utilise and facilitate that talent can play to the best of its ability.
Yeah, it's certainly an interesting one. And I think you nailed it there with what was going on at Manchester United. And then Paul Pogba as well said that he wants to be this team's leader for France.
That is the only thing that I would say about France, is that they don't have a recognised...
Look at me, I'm the man.
Yeah.
That's right.
And he can do that.
Of course he can.
And if he does do it, that would be...
He did it at times at Juventus. He stood up and took games by the scruff of the neck and said, right lads, let's go.
I'd love to see Paul Pogba do that. I think we'd be in for some special evenings of football.
I was talking to a United fan the other night actually, who says, would you see Paul Pogba going to light it up, and then when he comes back to United in August he'll be the same old Pogba again, and that could be a Mourinho thing, do you know what I mean? It's like a...
Was that a friend of the show?
That was Conor Breen, who's watching from Canada right now.
Hello Conor. Oh, Canada?
The Butcher. Yes.
Nice. Oh, I never knew your full name, Butch, sorry. Jake, who do you think's going to be the player of the tournament?
Look, I'm ragging my brain to pull out an Arsenal one here for you. Granit Xhaka is one of the a midfield maestro.
Johan Giroud still there? You're not
We're not talking about most red cards here, like.
Right. Personally speaking, player of the tournament.
Just say it.
Look, I would, Ozil would be one of my favourites. The reason being is that the reason I can't really go for him, to be honest, is because he's still had so many injuries recently. He just hasn't been at top form, I suppose, from really Christmas time. He's a player that can switch it on. He fits into Jogi Löw's system very well. I want Mesut Ozil to have a massive World Cup. and to remind Arsenal fans what they have in this player, you know. But then again, that's just me and my biased and self-indulgent Arsenal ways.
That's alright, totally normal.
To be honest, beyond that, player wise, I would love to see a midfield masterclass from someone. Pogba, of course, but he's more, you know, but just...
What about Iniesta on his final World Cup?
It'd be lovely to see.
That'd be something special, like, wouldn't it?
It'd be lovely to see that. Personally speaking, the one, you know, the player coming to mind just at the moment is Toni Kroos. You know, maybe a lot of his work's underrated, but he's a key tactician or technician in the midfield for Germany, who I think are going to go all the way, and he's going to be the one to watch for me.
Yeah, that's a good shout. I just had to sit through and watch him destroy us for 90 minutes, so I know how good he is.
Again, though, you know, no mention of Ronaldo or Messi. Like, these boys can just go, it's fine, like, and I'm taking this World Cup.
They can do, but I think it's time that we saw. I know they haven't really got the ladder up at tournaments, so to speak. Messi was very good in the last one. Ronaldo won. He certainly helped Portugal win the Euros and got them there. And 2004, when Ronaldo burst onto the scene, he was outstanding at the Euros. But I just think I personally want to see someone else now. So that's why I want to see someone like Isco. Obviously, like Mo Salah, Firmino and Mane are the three best players in the world, so they're probably going to have good World Cups. I'm joking, but no, I'd rather see someone else. Iniesta to do it actually would be quite lovely. Like,
That'd be lovely to see that.
He went
Like,
down,
sentimentally, it'd be superb.
and didn't headbutt someone in the final. Managed to see it out.
But the World Cup doesn't work like that, boys.
No. Is there before we sort of finish off, we've done goal scorer, team.
What about the biggest letdown?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
England.
Do you think there will be? Well, you jumped in straight away. Do you think there'll be a team and do you think is going to massively let us down? I have one in my head. Yeah.
Who?
I'll let you go first.
No, I want you to go first.
Okay, I think Argentina are not going to get out of their group.
Fair point.
Britain's stunned.
Well, I disagree. Like,
Britain's looking at me like, you idiot!
and you can see why in my video tomorrow night.
Yes, make sure you watch it.
But I can't see Argentina being a letdown. I think they're, you know, as bad as their qualifying campaign was, they are different in tournament football, and I realise, you know, all these players, all these big wings, Aguero's, Messi, obviously not Lanzini anymore.
That'll be a chance for Pablo now, the Boca Juniors forward to step up.
Yeah, or I wonder, have they brought somebody in?
Hasn't been announced just yet before we come on here, so I don't know. They most likely will, yeah.
Cardi?
Could be Mario Kart coming in. That would, I mean, if that
I think
happens, I'll
that's
have to.
truly deserved.
I'll have to take my obviously thing away if they bring someone like a Cardi in. But yeah.
Yeah, no, I don't think Argentina. Nobody's really coming to mind as.
Do you know who I think is going to be the biggest letdown? France.
Okay.
Yeah.
Didn't see that coming either.
I just think this team, there's something missing in this team. And I don't know whether it's, you know, I don't know whether it can be changed by a manager. Didier Deschamps can change it. Maybe they need someone else to come in. You know, apparently if Didier Deschamps, according to the French papers, I was checking up on this today, if he doesn't get to the semi-finals, you know, he's gone. I just think that, you know, France are under a lot of pressure. And I don't know whether they cope well under pressure. I think that Didier Deschamps, this will be his last hurrah with France, and if they don't do as well as I expect them to, and I'm not saying they might still get to the quarterfinals, but you know, people are talking about them as winners. You are, because they are, Brendan. You know, and this might happen to Germany, but I'm just looking at them and I'm sort of saying to myself, you know, this team doesn't have those players that the '98 French team had going into the World Cup. Petit, Vieira, you know, those winners, Zidane, Thierry Henry, those winners, you know, and of course you have to. They had to, I suppose, achieve or to achieve that label for themselves, and we now look back at them as winners, and maybe that'll be the same as this French group. I just think that this will, Didier Deschamps will go, I think Arsene Wenger will come in and he'll win the 2020 World Cup. 72 he'll go.
I was like, how is this going to have an Arsenal
2022.
angle? But there it is.
There it is. Straight back in. You never let us down. Do you? Never let us down. I actually, as well, was thinking, what about Portugal?
Well,
I don't think a lot. I know European Championship, but I don't think a lot is expected of Portugal.
No.
It never really is. So like, I don't think that it'll be expected of Ronaldo. Yes, but I don't think they can be a letdown when people don't really expect them to go that far.
But if they were to go out in the group stage,
if they go out in the group stage, possibly.
one player to actually watch for Portugal is, and we haven't covered them yet, obviously.
I did cover them yesterday.
Oh, I haven't
It's
seen
alright,
them.
go ahead.
Gelson Martins.
Martinez.
Oh, who's also linked to Arsenal.
Is it?
Yes.
Well, there you go. He's actually a very good winger. Sporting Lisbon player.
Yes, he's very, very fast. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think he looks good, but I don't expect much from Portugal. I think they've done this squad has done it, and winning the Euros, like that was a massive achievement in
Yeah.
France.
Yeah. You say there's pressure on France. Like there's absolutely no pressure on Portugal.
No.
Because they've
And I might
won the Euros, they're not expected to go and win the World Cup now. Even though they've won the Euros,
Yeah.
they're not. They probably don't see it as a natural progression. Right, we're going to win the World Cup now.
It's a different pressure
Whereas
for
France will.
Ronaldo because nobody expects Portugal to ever win the World Cup.
So it's
But
an
For
overachievement.
Messi at Argentina, everyone expects. And the reason why I think Argentina, I think the group's very tight, which you're going to show us in your video tomorrow on YouTube. Make sure you check that out. Nigeria and Croatia are in there, and I just think the Biglia, the midfielder, is carrying a back injury, which means Mascherano's going to win the midfield, and he's lost a lot of pace now.
He's old.
They got absolutely blitzed by Spain, and I know it was a friendly, but both teams were going after each other and they got blitzed. I think Argentina will be the letdown of this World Cup.
What about England? A lot of talk. There's always a lot of talk before the tournament about England, and they're obviously going to get through the group, do you think? Or they'll get.
I think they'll come
first or
second. I think
second?
they'll come second in the group.
I think they'll probably squeak through the group, but unimpressively, and I just don't think their midfield's strong enough.
No, they're going to rely on the likes of Henderson, who's maybe not as great a player as you'd want, and then they've lost with Cheek and Fabian Delph, Eric Dyer, but he can play in centre half. But John Stones didn't have a good game last night, by all accounts. But as you said earlier, you were talking about Rashford. Rashford was superb for England last night, and he could be like a breakout player at this World Cup that's come through. They still got Raheem Sterling and Harry Kane and Vardy. England, if they can click, especially going forward, they could really hump some teams. They could really put some teams away. But I think going deeper into the tournament, I think a quarter final is the furthest that England team will go.
That would be a massive achievement, I think, for Gareth Southgate.
Yeah.
It's a base. It's something to build on, I think.
Their attack is the strongest part of their team, definitely. Like their midfield, I know you said Derek can play both, but I wouldn't be overly confident in their defence either.
No,
I think Gary Cahill is going to start, and I know that there's mistakes in him, like in
I
big
think their
games.
fullbacks are good.
Yeah, fullback. It depends what formation they play as
Yeah.
well. Kyle Walker's probably going to play as part of a 3, I think. Which it's not a position he's been playing. I know he's a very good player. He's adaptable, but it's not a position he's been playing all season.
Yeah.
I think if they played a 3 though, that would actually suit Gary Cahill.
Yeah, on the left hand side of it.
Yeah,
Yeah, that is his best position, but still,
you're not a humongous fan.
I'm not a massive fan.
But is he not going to get more? Is he not going to be more isolated there? I suppose you've got 2 men to cover you, but you're going to be drawn out into wide areas a lot more. No.
He is, but he somehow seems to deal with that
Is
better
he?
than
Yeah,
being in the middle. Like.
Yeah. I think he suits playing in a 3 more than he does playing in a
I
2.
mean,
so to speak.
Chelsea won a league with him playing there.
Yeah.
That's
Do you know
true.
what I mean? Like?
Is there, before we wrap up, is there a player you think, not that we have we've discussed that, but is there someone that maybe people have been mentioned that you
Yeah,
think
maybe Emil Forsberg, of Sweden.
Yes, good
Somebody,
shout.
somebody to look out for Leipzig.
RB Leipzig.
He didn't have a great season last season, but the previous season was superb. He's a player that Sweden will rely a lot on, because obviously their talisman, the dictator of Swedish football, will not be there, and Zlatan Ibrahimovic. So he is someone who can be carrying the weight of that nation on his shoulders, and I would really like to see him deliver. I think he's a player that maybe with a good World Cup will find himself in the Premier League next season.
That's a very good shout. Is there one you got in mind?
Obviously, people know Moretti from Leicester, but Cromrich, I think, gone to Hoffenheim.
Hoffenheim. He won player of the tournament of the year and all for Hoffenheim as well. Like, he scored a
I think
lot of goals.
this will be obviously you need to impress in a difficult group, but you know, if he does take on that mantle for Croatia, I think
Nice.
they go through in second, which I think they probably will. I think he could be one to watch.
If you haven't seen it yet, I said on my video with Uruguay's group, so it was Group A and it's up on YouTube, so make sure you check it out at the Sports Bubble. I think it'll be Nandes from Uruguay. I'm not going to claim to watch all of his games and know anything about him, but I read about him and I've been watching clips on him and I've seen a game they played with Boca Juniors. I think he's going to be an outstanding talent in the
I look
future.
forward to watching him actually.
He's only 21 and I think he's already captain of Boca Juniors. He certainly was captain in some of the games and he looks like a leader already. And I think he's going to be brilliant to watch in that Uruguay team. So keep an eye out for those three players. But that's our live show done. I don't know if we'll get to do one next Thursday because we watch the
Sorry,
Is
Sorry,
that
Arabia.
4 o'clock kickoff?
No, it's at 7 o'clock.
Oh, is it?
And Brendan, you're off to Italy in the morning for his holidays, but there's going to be a YouTube video coming up every day still, right up until the start of the World Cup, and then myself and Jake will do some YouTube clips and some videos for you, maybe after every game or maybe sort of 1 or 2 days in each group. But thanks for watching. Check us out on YouTube at The Sports Babble, obviously if you have us here, and check us out on Twitter at The Sports Babble. Make sure you tell all your mates and enjoy the World Cup. See yous.
Good night.